So, I've talked in a previous video about wanting you to be more targeted in how you network and who you jump on a call with. So, let's talk about how to be a little bit more targeted and how to begin networking, because when you first start off with this, it's like, who do I talk to? There's a big world out there, but I don't know anybody. So, where do I start? So, I'm going to choose a scenario and maybe choose the hardest scenario. Maybe you're a junior developer, you're finishing a coding boot camp, and the market has been tough of late. So I'm often telling developers that the jobs aren't out there on the big job boards for reasons that I go into in other videos on this course. So I encourage you to be more targeted. So you need to start infiltrating local networks. You need to start getting to understand the ecosystem around you. And that's what I'm going to kind of try and show you in this video. And it might go wrong. And I hope it does, actually. We should hit a few brick walls, because that's the life of someone trying to dig down and, find what's going on around them. So employers still, and even more so actually today, are more inclined to hire local junior developers. When someone thinks about a junior developer, they're thinking, I'm going to have to invest a lot of time and effort into this person, time, effort, and money, and therefore if they leave after a year, I'm going to be upset. Now hopefully they'll pay you to keep you, but they are investing in you with the hope of a more long-term thing, and that tends to favour local developers. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big advocate of going remote. I've been remote for most of my career, but it's still also true that finding jobs for junior developers, it's actually easier if you search locally to you. So I live in a very small town in the middle of the UK, and there's not much going on. So I figure that would be a very difficult place for me to start to find a job. So if I can start there, I might have to wind out and go to my next biggest city, which is Birmingham. But hopefully we can do an example that is going to play out, and we'll see how this works. Now, I'm not going to find a job in a 5-minute video, but I want to show you how to start finding the networks and how to find seeds, as I call them. And these seeds should give you a way to start infiltrating networks and to start networking with local developers, and also then give you places to apply for jobs. And we'll start to look at that. And we'll dig into some of this in more detail. So I'm going to skim over it to give you the idea. So finding a seed. There are many, many, many ways to find a seed. And I don't want you to get too hung up on one way. Now, one of these ways is you could go and attend a local tech meetup and go and meet people there. You don't even have to attend, actually. You could just go and look people up who do attend, or find the meetups and see the companies that are there. But you could just as equally type in, I don't know, let's say, in fact, let's give ourselves some tech. Let's say I normally start with JavaScript, so let's go something different. Let's go old school. We're going to find a PHP job. Let's make it even more difficult. There's lots of PHP jobs, but I'm normally searching for more modern stuff. So PHP in Stafford, UK. So I encourage you to go, okay, is there a local tech meetup? Let's start Googling for that. Stafford tech meetup. Find tech events. Staff's web meetup. Now, Stafford is in Staffordshire, so that could be it. And that could just, I think that might be the same thing. So now we've got a tech meetup. Open up all three of those. So Staff's web meetup. Staff's web meetup. Boom. So that's the meetup. Okay, so we could go along to this group, and there's lots of people. That's great. Events members. I'd have to log in. Okay. I don't want to do that in this example, but let's start here. In fact, let's start on this tech meetup site. So we know we could go along to this, meet lots of people, and we could go on here and sign in, and maybe it's got their contact details in there. I don't know. Anyway, so for that, let's make sure that is the same website. Yes, it is. Okay, so now we're here. They seem to have sponsors. So these are all local companies that hire web developers. Whether they hire PHP developers, I don't know. So let's go and look at all these companies. That's JetBrains, that's much bigger, so that's a separate thing. So here's a local company by the looks of it. And now we can find them on LinkedIn, the little LinkedIn logo down there. And for this one, usually it's going to be down the bottom. There it is. So we've got another LinkedIn. Code Weavers. Let's find your LinkedIn. So you've got a LinkedIn as well. Kanuka Digital. They have a LinkedIn. Vessels Value. They have a LinkedIn. And this was more events. I'll keep that open just in case I need to come back to this. Now, we've got these LinkedIn profiles for local companies. So, okay, let's look at the people. Now, I don't know what all these companies do, so we're going to hit some walls, I would guess. So they don't have any PHP developers. Okay? Skip it and move on. Let's look at DataFlexNet. Do you have any PHP developers? Please have PHP developers. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start editing my video. No, I'm hitting brick wall after brick wall. Who are you? Code Weavers. Do you have any PHP developers? In which case, you might be interested in hiring me. So, they do have PHP developers. I've got all these people. So there's head of web application development there. Hasn't got a profile picture, but never mind. Front end web developer, full stack. We've got a principal guy. Boom. Now, so next thing, we can go on this Code Weavers website. They've got an email address. We can apply for a job. But secondly, because this is a networking thing, now we've found developers working locally doing PHP, or they've got some PHP in there. So now we can start to look at these people. Do they talk on here? So they posted, they're hiring 7 months ago, but for senior front-end developers. But there's potential here. So this person might talk. We could follow them. Click the follow, and then once you click follow, in fact, let's follow them so you can see it. We hit this notification bell and say, I want to be notified about everything that comes up. Boom. So whenever this person talks, I'm going to be notified. Does this person talk? A full stack web application developer. So we're also looking through their previous history. Have they worked anywhere else? And we can find that as well. But if not, we're going to follow. Certainly if they've got activity. If they haven't got activity, it might not be worth it. It's up to you depending on how many you've got. So no activity, so we can move on. But we've got so many to go through here. Hopefully we find a few, and if you've got a back-end developer, you never know who's going to be the person that posts a lot. Not posted, but it gives you more companies and tells you what tech they're using. So we've got more ideas. And that's what I would do. I'd start following all the local people. Now this is, you've gone through one company and you get to the next company. Kanuka Digital. I don't know what they do either. So let's look for PHP in all of their people. There's one person. Wasn't this the person who was organising this? Or no, wrote that. Okay. So, okay, interesting. WordPress is based on PHP, gives you an idea, but then there's other places that they have worked, potentially using WordPress and or PHP, but we can go through all these things. They talk a lot. What are they talking about? Is it PHP? Is it WordPress? And we can start to build up a network. Now you're starting to follow people who are employed by local companies, and you can apply to work at those companies. We'll talk a bit more about that in another video, but now you can start to follow and engage with. So whenever these people start to post, you should be notified. When you're notified, if you can add value to the post, and we'll talk about how to do that later, now you're starting to network locally with developers who use the same technologies and are employed by companies that use the same technologies that you want to be known for. And that's how I would start networking locally. Now this is a 10-minute video already, So I'll break this up and start to move on to the next part in the next video. Take it easy. See you in the next one.